our closest ally, our greatest friend, our partner with shared values. Great Britain is turning into an anarcho-tyrannist society where the government wields absolute power and punishes and smashes and crushes any dissent. All the while they allow foreign criminals to run rampant, terrorizing the society. This is Great Britain under anarcho-tyranny.
It's extraordinary that, I come from the land of Magna Carta. I come from the land that gave us the mother of parliaments, and it doesn't give me any great joy to be sitting in America and describing the really awful authoritarian situation that we have now sunk into.
Without any kind of mandate, the government wants to do away with jury trials, and it wants to extend the powers of magistrates to sentence people for up to 2 years without any right to appeal, conviction or sentence. Can she confirm that last year, of 5,000 cases appealed from magistrates' courts, more than 40% were upheld? Is it the government's policy to simply live with this number of miscarriages of justice?
That you've got, as you say, the police are monitoring people's social media.
You have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrests and so forth.
The rise of non-crime hate incidents. The fact that there was a story recently where a couple of female police officers dressed up as joggers went for a run with a view of trying to entice people into doing wolf whistling and things like that, so they could sort of stop and give them a lecture as undercover police officers, even though that in itself wouldn't necessarily be a crime. All of this whilst we're letting in tens of thousands of fighting age men cross over into the country illegally, and all of the horrible stories that we're seeing coming as a result of that. And these sort of completely absurd things. It all boils down to an idea that I'm sure a lot of people watching this will have heard of, called anarcho-tyranny.
Anarcho-tyranny.
Yeah.
It's just, there's kind of like, it's like you have the worst of anarchism and tyranny all in one, where if you follow the rules, you get totally fucked, and if you just ignore the rules, you get rewarded. The worst incentives.
Anarcho-tyranny has the government play both Batman and Joker, enforcing laws against innocent citizens while letting the real criminals roam free. They play Batman so that they can look like high-tech crime fighters, and they play Joker because who hasn't at this point? There's the tyranny side, asset seizure laws, mandatory sensitivity training, gun control laws, and there's the anarchy side, where people are allowed to block city streets to protest gasoline. To change the metaphor, when the subject is jaywalking and seatbelt violations, they're RoboCop. But when it comes to murder and looting, they're Chief Wiggum. So why do they do this? Francis argues that the government is more interested in creating make-believe functions, raking in some revenue and flexing its muscles, than actually dealing with real crime. There's a certain kind of chaos that's useful to them. But it's also because they believe in the cause. Many of the people involved think they're making up for years of oppression by punishing certain people and letting others off the hook. That's why San Francisco won't let Twitter employees nap in their offices, but they're fine with mass homeless encampments. Fireworks are outlawed in France because certain immigrants were using them as weapons. The immigrants still use them, but no one else does. That's anarcho-tyranny. The state declares emergencies, swoops in like Superman, and uses the chaos to beef up its power.
You're going to have to do it to access information online, and we're getting closer and closer to that.
Well,
every
England's
single
just
day.
submitted to it. They just submitted to digital ID.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, these motherfuckers are pushing digital ID on these people. And once they do digital ID, they're going to attach it to a social credit score.
Yep.
They're going to attach it to a carbon footprint score. And then they'll be able to control your movement and control you entirely. And most importantly, they've already arrested 12,000 people for social media posts.
That's insane.
Above and beyond every other country. Way above Russia. Russia was like 400 last year. The UK is 12,000. Any criticism of immigration, any criticism of grooming gangs and people being raped, any talk about how horrible this is, they come visit you.
In relation to some comments that you made on a Facebook page.
You were witnesses saying, obviously, people, why are they over here, etc., we let them into our country, etc.
A woman has been arrested by Cheshire Police in relation to inaccurate information on social media.
Because someone has been caused, obviously, anxiety based upon your social media post. That's
not his.
Why you've been arrested.
We've had the UK police arresting James and Rita, a dad, for comments that he made about his 9-year-old girl's school teachers on a WhatsApp.
Yes, this couple were held in a cell for 11 hours, arrested in front of their crying children. So you can just imagine how traumatised those poor kids are. And James, after a 5-week investigation, there's no case to answer. We don't know what they posted in that WhatsApp group that alerted the police and had so many of them show up to their home to arrest them.
You have shocking inequities of justice being meted out on a daily basis, like these 2 cases here. Carer jailed for live streaming Staffordshire riot on TikTok as she walked home. Agony for mother of teen killed in machete attack after learning one of his killers will be released after just 6 months due to prison overcrowding under new labor scheme. Guy on the left received 2 years for an attack where he sexually and physically assaulted a woman late at night outside. The man on the right received 1.5 years in prison for saying mean words online. Woman on the left received 2.7 years in prison for inciting racial hatred. The man on the right got 2.5 years in prison for the blank of a 14-year-old.
There's a famous video where this fucking idiot in a wig, he's one of them judges, and they wear the wigs, the white powdered wigs, and he's sentencing this guy for 20 months for social media posts.
You have been committed for sentence, having pleaded guilty to an offence of publishing written material which is threatening, abusive or insulting, intending thereby to stir up racial hatred. You took to social media in order to encourage others towards participation in the attacks upon the hotel. The initial post received 6 likes. However, it was sent to your 1,500 Facebook friends, and because of your lack of privacy settings, will have been forwarded to friends of your friends. The messages were therefore spread widely, which was plainly your intention. In response to a post questioning why, you wrote, "Because they're over here, given life of Riley, off the tax us hard-working people earn, when it could be put to better use. Come over here, with no work visa, no trade to their name, and sit down and doss, and then there's more people being put out homeless each year. They get top band priority on housing and many more reasons."
Normal complaints about mass immigration of illegals from other countries that aren't assimilating and that they believe are ruining their society, which there's a real argument for. And that's what online discourse is supposed to be about, like having conversations, like I'm voicing my concern for the way society is running right now because of what's happening, and no one's doing anything about it, and no one's protecting anybody.
You were arrested in the early hours of the 5th of August and then interviewed by the police. Your motivation became clear when you informed the police that you had promoted the idea of attacking the Britannia Hotel as a result of anger and frustration at immigration problems in the country. You went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, rape our kids and get priority, end quote.
It's like someone's trying to destroy England. It's literally like they've got a concerted effort to destroy England, and they're getting away with it.
Yeah, and what happens over there?
It's really crazy. It's really crazy to watch, because the mass immigration's not an accident. If I was going to destroy a country, I would do it exactly the way they're doing it. I'd take away their freedom, take away their ability to protest, take away their guns, which they did in the 90s, and then you start tightening that noose.
This offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable. Would you stand, please? The sentence that I pass has been reduced by 1/3 to reflect your guilty plea. The sentence is one of 20 months imprisonment. You will serve up to 1/2 of your sentence in custody before you are released on licence. If you fail to abide by the conditions of your licence, you can be returned to prison to serve some or all of the remainder of the custodial term.
Graham Linehan, the comedic writer, and he put out some tweets months ago when he was in Arizona. Months later, he arrives at Heathrow Airport to be met by 5 armed police. And he was arrested and taken away. He's not even a British citizen. He's an Irish citizen. This could happen to any American man or woman that goes to Heathrow that has said things online that the British government and British police don't like. It is a potentially big threat to tech bosses, to many, many others. This legislation we've got will damage trade between our countries, threaten free speech across the West because of the knock-on rollout effects of this legislation from us or from the European Union. So I've come today as well to be a klaxon, to say to you, don't allow, piece by piece, this to happen here in America. And you would be doing us and yourselves and all freedom-loving people a favour if your politicians and your businesses said to the British government, you've simply got this wrong. At what point did we become North Korea? Well, I think the Irish comedy writer found that out 2 days ago at Heathrow Airport. This is a genuinely worrying, concerning, and shocking situation, and I thank you for the opportunity to come here today.